Right. So we have movement and brain breaks in schools, improving behavior and cognitive function. And this is being presented by one of our psychologists, Michelle Tano. So thank you so much.
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're joining us today. Thank you so much. Um, so as it was just mentioned, today we're going to talk about movement and brain breaks and how that can help with cognitive benefits as well as behavior in the classroom for everyone, for teachers and students. As we know, I think all of us in education have felt that classrooms are more active, students are more distracted, and it takes more energy than ever to keep them engaged. Research is showing us that the brains are simply not built for long periods of sitting still, and after about 10 to 15 minutes, attention naturally dips. Some of the research mentioned here is that the 10 to 15 minutes of sedentary learning, as well as for teachers having some leading cause of burnout based on these escalated behavior incidents. So the idea that we're proposing today is to start implementing short active breaks to restore attention and classroom calm. Some of the strategies and evidence-based tools we'll be talking about today, not reinventing the wheel. We're talking about some basic movement, breathing, and pause routines. The good news, even really short, intentional breaks, just a minute or two, can reset the nervous system and bring back calm to the room. Why this matters, of course, is that it's going to help, and it's going to help in a many variety of ways. For the children themselves, it actually does improve focus and learning to take a daily physical brain break activity. It showed some gains in math and reading scores in some research, as well as improving the actual behaviors of the students, pausing and reducing disruptive behaviors and helping to make transitions smoother. Overall, as I've mentioned, it helps everyone, both teachers and students. If you have some micro breaks, there's been reports that there's lower cortisol, and so teachers avoid any kind of burnout, and they also are modeling some nice moments of calm and stress relief, and the students can take that as a note as to how to behave. This is an investment in classroom calm and focus, as opposed to thinking it as just a break. It's more of a seeds you'll be planting along the way to hopefully have just a more peaceful environment in the classroom. So, for all of you in the room or online, if you have a moment, maybe it would be a great moment to practice with me as you would do in your classroom. Stand up, move around, stretch your arms, maybe like point them to the ceiling, put them across your chest, and go ahead and take some breaths, nice and long, and nice breath in, and then a breath out. Take your time. Two more. Nice breath in, out, nice and long out, and the last breath in, out, and ask yourself how you're feeling compared to just 2 minutes ago before you moved around and you took this moment to take some deep breathing. If you feel any more focused or any more rejuvenated, that's exactly the physiological reset that our students need or will need throughout the day to keep in focus and to keep feeling good throughout the long, tenuous school day. So, some more research. The brain on movement, physical activity increases the blood flow and oxygen to the brain. We know this. We know this. We hear about working out and all the benefits. Even in these small doses, it's going to enhance the executive functions, which we need in school and we need when we're working in groups and with our students. They need them for working together as well as working well with the teacher. Attention, memory, and self-control. Research has led us to see that classroom-based exercise can even increase some test performance. So just 3 to 5 minutes of movement primes the brain to learn better. This is why little energizers like a quick march or stretch can make a measurable difference. 3-minute energizer activities could be jumping jacks. I do that a lot when I'm testing students and just see their energy level dipping. I'll say, okay, let's do some jumping jacks. Or, kind of challenge them to march in place or run in place, or use it as a time to just stretch. And that is always going to be a great wake up or reset in any moment of learning. Okay, and so now some other benefits as opposed to just the neurological improvement for task-related things. We're talking about the overall holistic health of a child and teacher, which is to calm the stress response, lowering cortisol. When we control our breathing, we activate our nervous system, and this is the area where we're just promoting our emotional regulation. It's subconscious, and that's gonna bring us down to just a calm, regulated place where we can retain more information as a student, or even just have more patience and calm, dealing with any challenging behaviors. So, when classrooms normalize short pauses, both students and teachers can become more emotionally resilient. Again, as mentioned before, teachers who model this calm breathing can show students what regulation looks like. Say, for example, a strategy might be to start class with 1 minute of breath focus and use that as a transition. For example, a pause and breathe when transitioning after recess or lunch. There's even some visuals that you can find online where a circle or a shape will open up and close to follow the breathing, and you can just put that on the screen and lower the lights and take that minute for all of you and yourself and the students to enjoy a moment of pause before you continue about the day. So another practice for ourselves, I wanted to keep this webinar relatively participatory. Go ahead and breathe in for 4 seconds and then out for 4 seconds and then in for 4 seconds and then out for 4 seconds. And what you're doing here is called a square breathing. Sometimes there's even a pause in between the 4 seconds. And this is a great meditative and just visual way to present this idea. Like the students can be using their hands as they follow their breathing on their own body or in the air. And this, again, incorporates an awareness for the student to have with how they can control their sense of calm and their breath. And it really does encourage learning and motivation once the students are all involved in these types of breaks. So, what type of outcomes can we expect if we incorporate these little movement breaks? Again, you have to think of them as an investment so that these 3 to 5 minutes throughout the day could add up to 15 minutes in all, but all of that would be so that every moment of instruction and learning is better saturated and absorbed by the student because there would be less disruptive behavior, more on-task engagement, and hopefully an improved mood and sense of cooperation as you'll all be doing these things together. Um, for example, students with ADHD in particular tend to thrive on frequent breaks. They're not distractions, they're regulation tools. Programs that had energizers as a structured built in to the curriculum showed a 25% drop in off-task behavior. So less disruption, more engagement when you take the time to build in these moments of pause or physical activity with the same goal. So what else we can say? I think I mentioned before, it increases peer cooperation and pro-social behavior. So again, it helps the students how they interact with each other if everyone's a little calmer and a little more focused. And it can be fun. This can be the moment that you as a teacher can incorporate a little of your own personality. And again, you're benefiting as the teacher as well from this movement or pause. So I had a teacher that I knew that taught back in Texas, and she loved her John Mayer, and she would always play certain songs, and that was the opportunity for the students to dance or shake out whatever energy, and that was something that she obviously also enjoyed as well. So it becomes somewhat of a class ritual. You could even do like a reset pose. You could make it creative. Really, this is an opportunity for everyone to benefit from the idea that some movement and breathing can really reset, and it can be enjoyable as well. So as I mentioned a little more, our nice little calm teacher there, hopefully these types of breaks and movement placed in throughout the day is also beneficial for the teacher. Things such as mindful pauses or those visual meditative breathing exercises tend to help student-teacher relationships. And research shows that the physiological benefits, such as lowering the heart rate and cortisol, again, are definitely beneficial for teachers as they are calmer and the students mirror that energy. So, some practical strategies. Sorry about that. My dog's a little bark. Let's see if I can get it to stop. So, some practical strategies would be to, again, do some sort of jump, like a jumping jack, or a stretch, or a yoga pose. For example, some children like to try to balance with a yoga tree pose, where they'll put one leg up above or under their kneecap. And this is like a balance. This again does increase their ability to balance, but it's a physical challenge, it's a focus challenge, and it's fun. And they all they see is all their friends falling over trying to be trees. Um, Another good example is for breathing, to tell them to smell the flower and then blow out the candle. It's a nice little visual example, and it tends to help with them not realizing, right, that they're doing any kind of helpful, mindful, or meditative breathing. Um, Also, you're going to have the students stand or shake out their arms to reset. That's obviously like a very typical, just shake it out kind of, movement. But you might also want to integrate that into a ritual because if not, it might be difficult for them to kind of get serious again. So I would have a little bit of structure other than just telling them to shake it out. Maybe a shaking out and a pose. Either way, integrating any of this physical activity into the lesson tends to improve academic outcomes as well as behavior. And the return to work with higher time on task is in the research. Integrating movement into lessons, like acting out vocabulary, for example, can boost learning without losing time. Okay, some other points. To keep breaks short and structured, as I mentioned, you don't want to always be offering an opportunity to move without any bit of structure. That could cause a little bit too much of the goofiness and giggles to maybe set in, and that might disrupt your instruction. So having some sort of cue or timer or music, like a song that ends and then we're back to business is always very helpful. Having it maybe embedded into natural transitions like the start of class or before a test. This is again adding structure to the fun. You're aware of all the physical and academic and behavior benefits. All they know is we get to sing a song or we get to act like a tree. Again, another strategy could be to rotate students as movement leaders, and that way they look forward to or have the opportunity to lead this movement or breathing break. Hopefully, you can get your whole school involved, or just the grade, or the movement-based atmosphere could be something that spreads based on all the positive results from your own classroom. Consistency is key, as we know, with kids. Even if it's just 2 minutes that day, if it's always at the same time or before the same activity, that's going to make a huge difference versus randomly thinking of it when you're feeling like they need it. And building it into your week, your daily breaks of, in between classes and transitions, really would be the key of how this works best. And remember, this is not lost time, it's gained focus time. Any minutes spent moving, breathing, or setting a ritual will be doubled and tripled in the amount of focus and calm the students can feel to really absorb whatever information they're learning that day. So, some takeaway basically is to move and stretch and breathe and take the time to follow these simple science-backed strategies. Movement and mindfulness are not extras, they're essentials for focus, behavior, and emotional regulation. The students improve with their attention, behavior, and learning. Teachers obviously get re-energized, hopefully lower their stress, and can also improve their relationships with their students. And the hope again is that the school climate is cooperative and everyone can have a little bit more movement and focus throughout the day as they're in school. Small changes can create a positive ripple effect across the school. So even if it's just you in your classroom incorporating a small breathing break after lunch, it can make a huge difference. And I encourage you to do that. Thank you very much.